see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we want to see.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple big niggas cross America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us.
The sake of us, the
I
sake
see
of us.
my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion niggas cross America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. No more feeling, telling me and beneath. What a beautiful moment, and a sight I can't wait to see. Even if I miss it, at least I was a part of the mission, changing lives of men, women, and children. All glory goes to He that causes us all to be you. And if they're thinking we can, show them that just as long as we stand. A monument, we the people can't be broken as long as we stay focused. I see my people rising, no one stopping us. Couple billion niggas cross America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. For the sake of us. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. Couple billion niggas cross America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. I see my people rising, yeah.
All right. Shalom, everyone. Those that's tuning in now, those that's going to be tuning in later. Shalom and welcome. Today is not the talk sessions. This isn't love and balance talk sessions. This is got to come up with a name for it, like Sage Talk. I got none other than Chief Prince Zabulon present with us. We weren't supposed to go live this Yom Shishi, but it's more Daoud must be watching right now, because as I said that right now, we got a love and balance chat. He was like, "Are we supposed to do it today?" And then I said what I say. He said, "Whew." He said, "Oh, okay, I thought it was supposed to be done." But anywho, we coming up on something major. But before we get started, Chief Prince, how you doing?
Hallelujah. Shalom Barak Hashem Yah. What's good, brother?
All praises. I'm glad that you decided to come on with me and speak on this. I want other people to come in, tune in, discuss or whatnot. But the title is "To Be or Not to Be a Hebrew Israelite." That is the question. B'nai Israel, Hebrew Israelite. That is the question. We're going to be going over a video of a young man. I don't know if he's young or not, but might be older than me, or he may be young. I don't know. He has some grays, but the objective, and those of y'all that know about us, Chief Zabulon, myself, Bed Mazam, those that come on my platform, or me and my Ishak's platform, we try to make sure it's balanced. We're not coming to attack, but we're gonna give you the real, and we're gonna make you think. We're gonna provoke your thinking, because what took place is very important to speak on, and it's starting to get out there a whole lot now. I'm sure it's been going for a while, but I'm starting to see a lot of platforms do what we're going to be watching and breaking down today. We're only going to watch 7 minutes of it. It's a 48-minute video that the guy spoke on, but we're going to go through 7 minutes of it. Before we do that, you all, I'm going to open up real quick in a prayer. Whenever we talk about certain things, we want to make sure that the Most High is present in our speech and our thoughts, and that's just what we do here. So give me about 30 seconds to a minute. We'll get started. Orenu abinu malkenu ani mebekeshe nabola kaseshelka salak lanu alkol tumashehi bezit ruchanit wenafshim. Our King, our Creator, our Father, I request that we come before your throne Please forgive us for any uncleanness, whether it be spiritual, physical, or mental. Toda for another day of life. Toda for watching over us as we went throughout our day. We pray that we have been pleasing in your sight on today. We ask that you continue to pour your understanding and your spirit within us and keep it around us to protect us and give us the wisdom that we need to bring forth information that can help each and every one of us to get closer to you. We give you all the glory, all the praise, all the honor each and every day. Please be amongst us as we speak today. Aloueta Makwaniski, Aloueta Kochaniski, Aloueta Maleka Elion. Praise the eternal source. Praise the eternal power. Praise the supreme king. All right.
Hallelujah.
Let's do it. Hallelujah. Man, I hope this brother do see this, because I saw a lot of the comments, and let's just get started. So the title, Chief Prince came up with the title, y'all. To be or not to be Hebrew Israelite? That is the question. Without further ado, we'll just get started. This individual, his name is Ringo TV. Those of you may be familiar with Ringo TV. He has close to 200,000 subscribers. I really wanted to speak on what we're going to speak on today because of the amount of subscribers that they have. Then I saw Sarnetta doing it. He has 2 different platforms with 200,000 subscribers, and it's a false narrative. I saw Vocab Malone did something, not on this brother, but did something with dealing with that other matter. And surprisingly, he didn't. Well, he was kind of doing his thing. To kind of, it was funny. It was shaky, I should say. It was like he was coming off, and so he was trying to be in good spirit, but he still was throwing some little elbows, some little shots.
Are you talking about No Cab Malone?
Yeah. So
I call him No Cab because he's going nowhere.
Right. And what I was seeing is so many people commenting. You know, the brother has said he doesn't understand why people are not understanding why they're not allowing him to speak his truth. And I want to say this, just in case he do end up watching this platform. It's the people that you're putting information out there to. They may not have the understanding, and you're not bringing forth the understanding. And from my perspective, that can help build a little more. And I'm not saying that disrespectfully. I'm saying that to just provoke a little thought. So let's go through his video. For those that don't know me, I am Nasi Karashi, and this is Bed Mazan Network that you all are looking at now. So let me pull up the video. Why am I no longer? And we're going to start, as I said, from the 13-minute mark. Okay, you all can see that. I can see it as well. All right. So in the beginning, I think he's going to speak on it some more. But in the beginning, he was giving you a little understanding as to how he went from Christianity, and he went to being what people say he was. And he was saying something along the lines of keep seeing no difference in it, as far as how they was treating him in Christianity. But then he began to say that the Israelites were twice as bad. But let's go ahead and press play. Chief Prince, stop me whenever you want to come in and say anything, and we're gonna do it like that because I'm going to be stopped a few times myself. Here we go. Let me know if you can hear it too. Thumbs up or just speak from it.
I know my nationality, but I no longer
You can hear it?
identify as a Hebrew Israelite. I no longer identify as that because I feel that the community, the people that believe that they're Israelites, they don't follow God. They really don't. When conflict arises, they don't follow God.
All right, I want to stop there. It's going to be 7 minutes, but we're going to be stopping through it. I want to start off by saying, when you are someone that has a big following, or may look at yourself to be a teacher, you cannot make general statements without letting it be known that you're generalizing it. You're saying that every Israelite, which is impossible because you have not met every Israelite. And it's our job of those that are trying to put out information to be balanced and to let it be known, hey, these are the individuals that I encounter. And we're going to get into that too, because I don't know who he really encountered, but the people when he's speaking, it's like it's a certain group. And every group is needed in some capacity. We're not going to go in that direction, but I wanted to just say you have to be careful when you are generalizing and you're not letting it be known that this is not everyone. You got anything with that, Chief Prince?
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, during the course of this this video, we're gonna obviously unpack some more things, but that's always a red flag for me when people when they generalize, not because it's a generalization, but more so because it says a lot. It's a defense tactic. And I'll just give a little bit right now, and we'll save the rest for later. But it's a defense tactic because if you say that, okay, I'm having issues with identifying as a Hebrew Israelite because of, let's say, IUIC, then the solution is very easy. The solution is, well, leave IUIC and go to another camp that resonates with your spirit and resonates with your mind. It's a very easy fix. If your issue is with a particular camp or a particular group of Israelites, then you can simply just remove yourself from that group. When you say, it's like, for instance, if someone says, if someone goes to, let's say, McDonald's or Burger King or whatever, and they put too much salt in their fries. Every time they go there, it's just too much salt, too much salt. Normally, a person will say, you know what, I'm just not going to go to this location. I'll just go to the one down the street, or I'll go to the one over here, or whatever like that, because clearly the people here, they don't know how to season their fries. Nobody says, oh, my fries were salty, I'm never going to Burger King again. That would be illogical. No one's gonna, it doesn't make sense. Many Hebrews tend to do the same thing. And the reason why they try to generalize, because when you mention a specific camp, then the solution is easy. Remove yourself from that camp and find another camp that resonates with your spirit. But by saying Hebrew Israelites in a general statement, in a general sense, then you can basically justify what you probably already wanted to do anyway. A lot of Hebrews, they get tired of the walk for whatever their reasons are. They get tired, and this helps them justify walking away from the movement, not just simply walking away from this particular camp. Because I think we've been around long enough to know that most of the issues that people have with Israelites, they're really only talking about a couple different camps. It's really just a certain group of camps, alphabet crew, that are on social media and are screaming at people and doing whatever. That's who they're talking about. And so that's what I'm saying. It's much easier to say generally they don't want to be dealing with Hebrew Israelites, because for me, I believe there's a different motive behind it.
And we're going to get into that. And again, this is to bring something out, because I'm going to bring, as we go through what he's going to say, I want to bring examples, and I'm going to bring biblical examples. I may not go to the actual scripture. I don't need to. You all do your own research and study on that, but I'll tell you about it and how it relates to what he's bringing out now, and how it relates to a lot of people, whether you are Christian, whether you are Hebrews, whether you whatever. It's something that you're just removing yourself because you dislike something specific. I'm not going to say what I believe that specific something is, but we'll go ahead and continue. All right, here we go.
They argue, they fight. And then the men that are to be the teachers, they're not teaching the people. Instead, they allow the people to be twofold more a child of hell than themselves. It's really, really sad to see. And I don't want no parts of that. I really don't want no parts of calling myself something that is associated with hate,
Well, I'm gonna let him keep going a little bit more.
that is associated with evil, that is associated with betrayal. I don't want no parts of that. I don't want no parts of something that is, it's wicked. I've experienced more hate from Israelites than Christians combined.
All right, I'm gonna stop there. I want to say a couple things to what he said. This is just off the fly, y'all. I didn't write nothing there. All right. We're in the U.S. now. It's 2025. You know, it's easy for us to have a foot in and a foot out. And we're going to go into why I'm saying that as we continue. Remember, I don't watch the video, so I know why I'm going with certain things. It's good to have one. It's easy to have 1 foot out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And when we're saying, well, you know, I'm going to go off the Bible, I'm just going to believe in the Most High, and I'm going to do what the Bible says. Off the bat, you're already doing what the Bible says for you not to do. Off the bat. And I don't know if it's going to be within this 7 minutes, and if it does, I'll just repeat it again. He spoke on in the video also that he talked about Christianity, and he said how Christianity is super religious, meaning like they'll come on Sunday, everybody's getting along, all the other stuff, everything's good, hallelujah, all the other stuff, and then he said once they part ways, then they're separate. So that's why it's religious to me. That's what he said. But you're yet doing the same thing, because culturally, if you go to Jeremiah 29 and you just go throughout the whole history, we were a people that was together. We was a people that had structure. I'm not talking about the majority. I'm talking about the least, the remnant within the remnant. We was a people who was supposed to have structure and order. There's always what we would call wicked people amongst us. And sometimes the term wicked is not even, they're not even really wicked. We just don't like it. So we called them that. But let's stay on topic what he's saying. Then he said, then so he I want to wait and continue to let him go, because this part he's going to bring out. I want to, we don't have the luxury. When you think of Moshe, I'm just say it now. When you think, he said something about hate. He said, I don't want to be a part of something that is hateful. I'm going to give you 2 scenarios real quick. I'm only going to use Moshe. His own brother and sister, do your research, disliked where he was, the attention he got from the Most High, so much so that when he was dealing with his wife, they had something to say about his wife. Most High dealt with that. Number 2, he brought the people through the guidance of the Most High out of Mizraim or Egypt, and they still wanted to kill him. They wanted to get a new leader. They hated him. Anytime you want to kill your brother or kill somebody to help you, you hate him. And he, you know what he did? He still put his face on the ground and prayed for the people. He wasn't able to say, I'm not this title, because it's not a title. But I'm not going to speak like everyone else was in the chat. And I'm going to pass the mic to you, Chief Prince. I'm not going to speak like everyone else in the chat, because I'm going somewhere else with it. I'm just trying to encourage that this walk, whatever walk that you're a part of, if you claim or you believe yourself to be a Bible believer, I don't say Bible, but I'm saying for the sake of those that's watching, then if you are really that, and you are, and here's the thing, everyone, I'm going to use, somebody has said this before. I think it was you, Chief Prince. Everyone's not a king. You need your regular folks, your regular people, the people that kind of still do their job, but they're not a king. So king has more responsibility. Why am I saying that? Maybe I'm putting too much on him right now to say, well, look, if you're a Bible believer and your people is displaying this hate, demonstrating this hate, are you, as the leaders that we see, they didn't remove themselves from the people.
Mhm.
But everyone wasn't those individuals either. So, what's your thoughts on what we heard so far?
Um, you know, I've always taken issue with that particular and I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say excuse, and I'm saying it without judge. Well, let me not say judging. I'm saying it without misjudging the brother, because again, you know, what's in his heart is what's in his heart. That's between him and the God that he believes in or doesn't believe in. I can't call that, but I will say that for many, many, many years, people will make the statement that, well, I don't identify with being a Hebrew Israelite because of, you know, and whatever the reasons are, 1, 2, 3, 4, you just name whatever the reason is. They'll say for that reason, and they'll say, you know, I don't want to be associated with anything that's negative, anything that's causing hate, anything that's causing strife among people. And it's like, okay, no doubt, you know, you shouldn't. I mean, who wants to be in a toxic environment? I get it. But what's interesting is that long before we as a people knew that we were Israel, we knew we were black people. We knew we were African Americans. We knew we were colored. Whatever these other terms that we used before we used the term Hebrew Israelite.
Okay.
And for centuries, whether us or other people, but specifically us, we've used the Bible in very evil and pernicious ways. We're still using the Bible for evil and pernicious ways. And you don't have to be a Hebrew Israelite to use the Bible in evil ways.
That's right.
So then my question is, why then are we saying I don't identify as Hebrew Israelite, but I'll still believe in the Most High, I still deal with the Bible, I still teach the truth, or whatever the case may be. You can't teach the truth if you've already denied the one basic genetic truth. If you are a Hebrew Israelite, you understand that you're one by blood, by nationality. We're not talking about religion. You can reject the theology of a particular camp, but to say that you're not Hebrew Israelite is equivalent to saying, you know what, with all of the gang violence and this, that, and the third, and, you know, in the urban areas, I'm no longer going to identify myself as black.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
oh, like, okay, I hear you. But it doesn't change. You cannot change your DNA. Your DNA doesn't change because you don't agree with people's view of life, view of the scriptures, or whatever the case. But now, with that said, by no means am I saying that his feelings
Right.
are invalid. But we'll hold off on that until we get through the video.
Yeah. And the last thing I'm gonna say before I press play again is, and I'm doing this for those that's watching other than him, whenever they shalom, Azante Tyreek. Baruch haba haba or haba. Baruch haba. So I'm saying this for those that's watching because there's a lot of stuff being said about Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
We have to really read the scriptures, man, and see that these people was regular people, and there was not a lot of them or us that was true. That's why the Most High say, man, I don't want y'all y'all keeping y'all feast days, y'all Shabbat or Shabtot, Sabbaths, y'all keeping that. Wait a minute, Most High gave us that. So what is he really saying? Y'all polluting what I gave you. Y'all shifting it and changing it. Y'all changing it. That ain't what I gave y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I saying that? If we know that we have always been that, because that's when I agree on Chief Prince on most things we're talking about, but just when he said it's an excuse, it is an excuse. It's the feelings is still there. Not gonna take away his feelings, but it becomes an excuse because if it's anything else that we like or want to do, we're gonna make a way. We're gonna stick to it. We're gonna do it no matter we're gonna stay at a job, even if we ain't getting along with our supervisor. Well, they ain't talking to me like that. Look, they talking about you.
Right.
He said that Israelites is double Christians. Look, I was in Christianity. My father's a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
I know how that part of our ideologies that we deal with and we use operate as well. It may not be so harsh verbally off the bat, and you're really talking about a specific group, by the way. That's not all
Right.
Israelites. Only people that know me, you can't even count on. If you knew me for these amount of years, how many times on two hands you heard me curse? You can't count on it. Chief Prince, you knew me for since 2015, 16. How many times you heard me cuss?
Not very often.
So the point is, everyone's not that, you know. So let's keep going. Let's press play. Let's press play. I'll share it again. See what else he got for us.
I've experienced more evil words from people that claim they're Israelites more than Christians. See, I can recall when I used to battle Christians. You know, we had fun battling, the back and forths, all of that type of stuff. And
wait.
Mm-hmm.
Something just happened. And I want people to pay attention to this. He came into his walk. He said he used to battle. So he was enjoying doing that. What changed now? But I'm impressed play if you don't got nothing with that, Chief Reds. But
no, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait. We're gonna unpack.
I want people to pay attention to everything that's being said, and I want him, if he watches, just to pay attention, man. And he knows what's going on his side. We don't really know what's the full reason, so I don't want to assume, but you got to pay attention to everything that you're saying. Be careful with your words, because I'm going to dissect it, and then I'm going to try to give some advice, some suggestions that can kind of help people kind of balance the whole thing that's being spoken about out. Here we go.
And one thing I can say about Christians is that when they have a battle, right, they'll battle you. They'll try to find Bible scriptures. They'll make videos, and you'll go back and forth, and it'll be a timeless battle, right? And it was good because even though we disagreed, we never resorted to pure evil. We would try to bring our case. And I noticed that about the Christian.
What's pure evil? I don't understand that. No. I mean, is it like a evil that's not pure? And that's a evil. That's a pure evil. I was just wondering. Let me keep pressing.
I'm just trying to understand where he's coming from.
Words. Yeah. These words you're leading. It's like, go ahead. Here we go.
Community back then, when I would battle them, they would present their case, bring forth scriptures, and we would debate. I'll make a video, they would make a video, and we'll see who the best man is. But it never resorted to violence. It never resorted to people lying on you.
Okay. Violence.
See,
because when you say that, if somebody don't know about Israel, they're gonna hear that and be like, oh, they must be on there hitting somebody upside the head and throwing them on walls and stuff like that.
Right.
That's the part I'm talking about. Is someone that's been a content creator or a teacher or whatever you might be, it's kind of manipulating the people to solidify your point by saying violence.
Right. These are trigger words. It's just like when you know, when you get up on these other platforms and they use, you know, like when it comes to women, you know, when they start using word, you know, the R word, you know, or the ASSAULT word, you know, because they know that these are trigger words. These are the words that get people to get triggered and to move in the direction that the narrative is pushing them. Mm-hmm. So to say violence, come on, how many, you know, when you get up on these other platforms and they use, you know, like when it comes to women, you know, when they start using word, you know, the R word, you know, or the ASSAULT word, you know, because they know that these are trigger words. These are the words that get people to get triggered and to move in the direction that the narrative is pushing them. So to say violence, I mean, let's come on. How many times on video, on social media, on any video platform, have you ever seen Israelites on the corners screaming, actually go out and assault the people that they're talking to?
Right.
Come on now, let's go on. So when you say violence, what are we talking about? Are we talking about physical violence? Are we talking about verbal violence? Because there's no such thing as verbal violence. I mean, you say what you say, unless they're threatening your life. Then if they're saying that, then that's a different story. But I mean, but again,
Yeah.
I want to give them a chance to just,
Yeah, we almost done with the 7 minutes. It's just the main thing that I'm pulling out of this is like another subject, right? Another subject. I always say, man, it's 2025. We can shift and change if we want to. Now, I understand about psychological things that needs to get worked out and stuff like that through conditioning and all that, but we typically can change anything we really want to change.
right.
So it's like when you're talking about this group over here, Christians, then you're talking about this, you're choosing. It's I wish I could find out what it is that really triggered him or caused him to want to go. And it may not be nothing. Maybe it might be something that he wants to do.
Right.
Or maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's keep listening and see if it's anything that's gonna pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
It never resorted to these things. But now in the Israelite community, it has been very, very disgusting. Like my experiences, and not just my experiences, I've seen other people experience things. I noticed that in the Israelite community, if somebody's in sin, let's say somebody was caught in sin, the Israelite community don't restore a brother, they condemn a brother. And they'll make video after video after video to condemn the brother in their sin. And it becomes entertainment to see that brother down.
All right. I know I'm stopping every time, but I gotta speak on this stuff.
Yeah. Now,
Look at
see,
this.
now we're starting to get to the root.
Right. And this was, I know what he's talking about the West Lane situation. Here's the problem I have with that. The problem that I have with that is it's no group. That characteristic or that action that's done has nothing to do with being an Israelite. That has everything to do with just us as a darn people. That happens in Christianity. That happens with atheists and so-called black people. That happens with us, which is why I go back to the Bible thing. We go back to the Bible thing, nothing. We talk about how we treat one another. There is only a remnant within a remnant. And this is me talking to those that's listening and watching back. No matter what group you're in, Muslim, Christians, Israelites, Mormons. I don't even know no Mormons, but I just know because people are still people.
Right.
People will smile in your face and talk about you.
Right.
They will mess up your name. They will do all of the above. It does not matter about a group. But to say that Israelites do this, you're really just saying so-called black people do this. And how can I prove it? You said that the Christians did it to you. You said that they did it to you. That's why you left. So now you're seeing what's happening here, and now you want to leave. You're going to continue to I'm not going to say run away because I don't want to belittle you. Ain't even like he's probably going to see this. But if you do, I'm trying to be balanced in this approach. But what I'm trying to say is we got to be careful when we're spewing this stuff out to people and we're trying to pinpoint a group when it's really all of us. Every group or movement, they have this. They go through it. You have people that are more wise, and you have people that aren't, that move in a lot of immaturity, whether young or old. And they do the very thing that he's talking about now. They might not be doing videos, but you best believe they telling their cousin, their auntie, their brother, their sister, their friend and their friend brother and sister, and they bad mouthing you and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I passed the mic.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm you know, and it's always difficult to, you know, to separate the person from the narrative, you know, because you don't want it to, you know, I don't want to be a, you know, I don't want to be the typical Israelite and bash them, because you know that's what we do.
Right.
But seriously, I think that some of the things that he's saying, again, this is like, you know, it's really cookie cutter actually, because I mean we can go back over the last, I don't know, 20 years on, you know, of social media footage, and you can find quote unquote former Israelites always saying the same thing. It's always the same narrative. Oh, you know, they're a hate group. Oh, they're this. You know, there's always this thing, and I'm not going to sit here and say that there's not some element of truth to what they're saying. These are not just outward lies, but I think that I think it's an exaggeration and it's a generalization of very specific groups that they're talking about.
Yeah.
And we know who the groups are, and these groups, I don't even think makes up 15 or 20% of the general Hebrew Israelite movement.
Yeah.
These are very specific groups. What they, you know, some people call them the alphabet crew, whatever like that. And again, my thing is that if you have an issue with, let's say, GOCC, if GOCC has become the bane of your existence, if GOCC is the group that you're looking at and you don't like what they're doing, you don't like what they're teaching, and you don't like how they're coming at people, then call that group out. Say, hey, you know, that's why I don't deal with GOCC members, because this is what they do. And that'll be a little bit more accurate, because then you can say, yeah, well, because GOC teaches a certain thing and the followers, they follow behind that teaching. So yes, that might actually be true. But first of all, let's you know, when we say Hebrew Israelites, now what I'm about to say, it kind of helps my point, and actually kind of negates it in a way. But when you say Hebrew Israelite, oh, Hebrew Israelites do this. First of all, Hebrew Israelites are not even a monolithic group. We're arguably the only movement that does not have a particular banner or standard of doctrine in which we all agree to. So, and just as a slight segue, or you know, a branch off here, look at Islam, for instance. There's many denominations of Islam, whether you talk about Shiite, Sunni, Sufi, Nation of Islam, Nubian Islamic Hebrews back in the days. I mean, there's these different groups that practice a form of Islam, and there's many divisions or whatever like that. But guess what? Regardless of what they believe or what they don't believe, they all agree on the 5 pillars. They believe that the deity is God, Muhammad is his messenger. They believe in charity. They believe in prayer. They believe in making Hajj at least once in their life, over there to Mecca. So no matter what your denomination is, those pillars are the things that hold all of them accountable to each other. Right. So you can believe what you want to believe on the side, but you will stand on this. Same thing with Christians. Christians are probably more disorganized, obviously, than Muslims. Way more disorganized than Muslims. So many denominations. But all Christians believe that what? The blood of Jesus was shed for the remission of sins. Okay. So they have that. You have God, Christ, and the church. No Christian will argue that. So at least they know that in those division type of situations, they know that, well, this is what holds us together. Unfortunately, you Hebrews are not as fortunate in that regard. There is no, we do not have a monolithic platform in which to spring from. And so even though that kind of plays against what we're saying in a way, but it proves that his usage of that verbiage of, oh, Israelites are this, Israelites. First of all, none of we don't have enough agreement for it to
Right.
be a Israelite issue.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be more specific now. And I think sometimes, again, we want to avoid being specific, because specific condemnation or specific critiquing then solves the ultimate issue. It doesn't allow you to just walk away. Your thing is, you just have an issue with this group. Okay, then leave GOCC and go to IOG if that's the issue.
Shout out to IOG. That's what I started from
Right.
first 3 years of my walk.
Well, if you don't like IOG, well, go to House of David. You don't like House of David, then go to ISUBK. If you don't like ISUBK, go to Shema Israel. You don't like Shema Israel, go to Beit Shalom, or no, Beit Shalom is not around anymore. Beit Shalom. I mean, go wherever you need to go to find that that camaraderie, that brotherhood and sisterhood that you're seeking, that you're seeking out. Just go ahead and do that. But to say that, but when you generalize and say, oh, Israelites, that's one of the tactics that some people use to walk themselves up out of not just the movement, but the responsibility and the accountability to that movement.
Yes. And that's what I was saying earlier. The accountability part. If you are this believer of the Bible, as we like to say, then the accountability part is needed.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what we feel about different groups, if you have no accountability, nobody that can pull your coattail, people say,
mm-hmm.
That are on the same path, that you may deem to be, a true servant.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, you're not following it as you believe yourself to be. Let's keep going though. We're almost done.
For example, let's say, a brother got caught in some questionable alternative lifestyle situation. What I've seen from the Israelite community is them making fun of men like that, not restoring them, not praying for them, not.
All right, I gotta stop it. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I gotta stop it. This is the general part we're talking about.
Right.
He is basing his response off of the videos of those that responded about the individual, but you're not basing your response on all the hundreds, maybe thousands of people that's actually supporting the man, that's actually praying for the man, that's actually, I'm saying it because I've seen it. I see the people that's talking about him. They so why I don't know why. I do know why he did it, but why are we doing it, man? We are making blanket statements and speaking authoritatively on things that we have no knowledge or understanding on. You probably don't even have contact of the individual that you're speaking of.
Right.
So you can't authoritatively speak on it. Hey, is anybody praying for you? Anybody praying for you? Is anyone supporting you? Anybody help lifting you up from what you went through?
Mm-hmm.
We look at this is a so-called black thing. This is just Israel in general thing. This is why literature was written.
Right.
This is why when it's so many. This stuff bothers me because I don't know if you remember this, Chief Prince. You probably do. When I first was in the beginning of my walk, I used to be the same person that you're talking about. I never said I'm gonna leave, but like, man, dude, as soon as they hear the word Hebrew, it's like, man. So sometimes I do say B'nai Israel sometimes, but I do that because I speak Hebrew. So, but as I grew, I understood that we need great representatives of
Right.
this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're talking to someone and you're saying who you are, like, yeah, oh, okay, so you're like them. And you know what I say when they say that? I say, yeah, I'm the same thing as they are, you know. But just like you have different types of people in different organizations, they have
Right.
different goals and purposes in their position that they're supposed to do. They're needed.
Right.
They have saved a lot of. It's a lot of people that hate camps that learn from camps.
Yeah.
They found out that they was Israel from camps.
And let me say something to that point, to just because I was going to make another point, but just to kind of just to land back off what you just said. You know, when I hear people make the statement, because I've talked to people many times over these years, and you know, you ask them questions like, hey, well, yeah, so well, you know, what camp did you come through? Oh no, I ain't come through no camp. I don't deal with camps. Oh, okay. So was this was Deuteronomy 28 revealed to you in the sky? Like, did it rain down on you like like the spirit, like a dove or whatever like that? And behold, my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. Like, it was one of those situations? Was it a Paul on the way to Damascus kind of situation? Like, what was the watershed moment that woke you up to not only the truth of the scriptures, but you as an Israelite? And they make it their business to dance around that point because they don't want to admit the obvious. Listen, brother, sister, you learned from a camp. And they'll say things, and just to show you the problems that they have with camps, they'll say, no, I didn't learn from a camp. I just watched YouTube videos. Oh, YouTube videos of individuals in a camp teaching. So then you did learn from a camp. You might have not been in the camp physically, but you received. You received everything. So it's this, it's this whole anti-camp, and even the term camp has become synonymous with what? It's, for me, camp has become the modern day version of the term Pharisee. When you hear the term, oh, Pharisees. Now, when you hear the term camp, you automatically don't think anything positive. You don't think like, oh yeah, brothers and sisters, they go out and they feed the poor. They go, they go dress the poor, and they go do this and they go do that, and they go visit the brothers and sisters up in prisons and homeless shelters, and they do this, whatever. No, the first thing people say when you bring up the term camp is what? Oh, they're over here yelling at people on the streets. Oh, they're disrespecting women and so on and so forth. They're doing, and it's, all of these are just, they're just narratives. They're like, they've gotten to the point where they're platitudes. It's just something that you say because it's the convenient thing to say.
Yeah.
And so it's.
And then most people, they're speaking from a stance of not even witnessing. They're speaking from a stance of what they've heard from someone else that was speaking on social media, or what? Gossiping, which is what we did in Christianity, which is what we did as just so-called black people in general. So they're speaking from that stance. You just heard him.
That's not true, though. Gossiping only happens among Hebrews.
You just heard him say, he said, I've witnessed, but then I've witnessed other people. Like, he went on the other people part, because a lot of people on social media, they're speaking from a standpoint of just the negative, the negative spill, for lack of a better word, when it comes to camps. I'm not, Beth Mazan Ministries is my organization, right? It will one day, as it continues to grow, be a congregation, or what people might call a camp. But it's our job as leaders, it's our job as teachers to carry that spirit that he's talking about. It's a lot of Israelites. Like you said, the people that he's talking about is a small percentage of everyone, a very small percentage. But let's keep going. Let's finish the video. All right, here we go.
Doing what the Bible says. Instead, they ridicule them, shame them, humiliate them publicly, and try their best to destroy that person, not bring them to Christ, not bring them to repentance, but to humiliate that person because of the sin that they were in. And the more I see these type of incidents, the more I realize is that there's something wrong with our people. And this is why I am no longer a Hebrew Israelite. And so,
Wait a minute. So he said there's something wrong with our people, and then he said that's the reason why I'm no longer a Hebrew Israelite. There's something wrong with our people. Mind you, our people are not all Israelites from a standpoint of practicing Israelites.
Right.
So something wrong with our people, and that's why I'm no longer an Israelite. I'm hoping he's watching this, because sometimes we be speaking and maybe he looked back and was like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have said that. That didn't make sense. You know, but the very thing that he's talking about before becoming an Israelite, it happened with him. That's why he left Christianity. He said it in the beginning parts. If you watch between minute 1 all the way to minute 13, because we started at 13, because I wanted to get into the meat, what we talking about now. That's what he was speaking on, and I get it. And here's the problem. What's his name? Let me go back to it. What's his name again? Ringo TV. Here's the problem. The main problem is we are doing the very thing that the scriptures tell us not to do. The very thing on how to conduct ourselves with each other, how to talk about one another. Even if we was apart ways, we should not be spewing and making videos about each other. This is not just, this is us, period.
Well, let's be fair and balanced, if you will. I used to watch a lot of Ringo TV back in like 2010, 2011. He used to have some of the most hilarious videos.
Oh, so you know who he is already.
He very rarely shows his face in his videos. They're mostly like just videos of, just using cutaway images and videos and special effects. So he would make these videos ridiculing other Hebrews, ridiculing Christians, ridiculing a whole bunch of people. He'll make these little points in the video, and then you'll hear the little special effect. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Whatever. And his videos used to be hilarious because, again, it was like that's why he has a lot of followers. He was very entertaining. But that's why I'm saying that the irony is that the very thing that made him who he is on social media is now the very thing that he is claiming why he doesn't want to associate with Hebrews. But wait a minute. But you benefited from this. You benefited from the dysfunction. It's like a person who sells drugs for years, and then after they stop selling drugs, they say, oh, drug dealers are criminals. Drug dealers are evil and wicked. It's like, well, wait a minute. Okay, well, all right, maybe that might be true. But you were on the grind. You were in the grind too. You was out in the trap too. You were there as well. So again, it goes back to the last show that we had, where when we start talking about, forgiveness and stuff like that, that if a person changes their ways, should they judge other people who have done this, who are doing the same thing? Should we judge them harsher, or should we be more understanding, considering that we were also doing the very same things?
That's right.
So when we say these, when I hear this narrative of, I don't want to deal with these individuals because they do A, B, and C, and I'm just tired of this or whatever like that, I don't want to associate. But wait a minute. But you claimed that Israelites are not being merciful and understanding of other people that they're castigating, but now you're not being merciful and understanding of the very group that we're talking about. So are you merciful and understanding or not? Should we be merciful? So there's confusion, but the confusion has nothing to do with the logic of the story. It has to do with a person's personal convictions and where they are at in their life. And now they're trying to kind of put the weight on this whole group over here so that they can escape scot-free. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily what he's doing. I'm just saying that people that I've seen in the past do it, this is what ends up being the case. What did we say in the last show? If you want to see why people walk away from the truth, pay attention to the aftermath of their decision. Pay attention to what they do after the decision, and that'll tell you everything you need to know as to what the motivation was. Next thing you know, you find them, oh, they're full-fledged Christian. You're like, oh, okay, well then that was the issue. Christianity resonates with you, and you decided to go that route. And so, and I'll just leave off with this point here. I pulled up an old Facebook post of mine from November of 2021, where I said people don't, quote, fall away from the truth. They simply return to that which they never wanted to leave.
Yeah,
that's really all it is. It's because if you know that you're an Israelite and you know that being an Israelite is a nationality, then there's no way to escape it. Now, if you want to say that, okay, I don't identify with any Israelite camp, that's a different argument. And then I could probably say, all right, I feel that. I feel you. No question.
Yeah. I could agree with that too if he did that. He didn't.
Right. I can go with that.
Yeah.
But again, not trying to pass judgment on them, just saying that this has been the observation that I've seen over the years with people who who come out of nowhere and they tell their war stories and horror stories about how bad it is to be a Hebrew Israelite or whatever like that. But when you get down to the reasoning behind it and some of their reasonings, you realize that no, this has nothing to do with the movement. This has something to do with your feelings about certain things, and that you don't want to admit that at this point in your life, you might feel that your services are better in a Christian setting or in an Islamic setting or in an agnostic setting. So rather than put all of the sin on the backs of a movement, just come out and say, hey, listen, at this point in my life, I'm kind of agnostic. I don't really understand. I don't really know what I believe about God anymore. I don't deny that God exists. I just don't know where I stand with a theological viewpoint of God, or whatever your platform is. Just say what it is that you personally, don't put it on the entire movement. Just you. What is your issue? And it can't be simply because, Israelites are, they're mean and they ridicule people, whatever like that, because you built up your entire YouTube subscribership based on ridiculing people. So, I mean,
and that's what I wanted to say on that part, Chief Prince. I think, how people will be like, well, I didn't do it that harsh. You're doing the same thing, but you didn't do it as harshly as who you're looking at, or the group, the specific small percentage group that you say has done or doing. I want to say this too, and we're gonna press play again. You remember the brother that woke a lot of people up, and he's into aqua something.
Yes.
Now, I love, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think, man, you spoke about this too when this happened. When he has said why he left, he didn't do it like this. Am I wrong? Didn't he part ways for being an Israelite in a sophisticated, tasteful manner, or am I off?
I can't remember exactly how, but what I will say, I never heard anything negative about how he departed.
Right.
It wasn't like people was like, oh man, he's right. Mm-hmm. I think with him, I think he kind of disappeared for a while.
Yeah. And
then kind of came back and didn't even fully address the issue. He just kind of started off where he was at, whatever, and just kind of kept it moving. Sort of like I don't know if you remember one of the early truth music artists. I used to, well, that's when I was still making a little music. A brother named Amar the Nazarene out of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
He was all for the scriptures. He arguably has one of the greatest songs about the Shabbat I've ever heard.
I think you sent them to me. Sent that to
Yeah,
me.
that
Yeah.
brother, that brother's song, the Shabbat was just straight up fire. Not strange fire, but fire nonetheless. But he at some point he disappeared off of social media, came back and was just kind of like, people was just like, hey, where you been, brother? Oh, just, he was like, yeah, I don't really, I don't really subscribe that much to the Bible anymore or whatever. People was like, yo, but what happened? And he was like, he was just like, hey, just go ahead and just do your research. You got to come to the conclusion for yourself. And I respected that approach because he wasn't trying to drag people with him into his chaos. He just simply said, hey, study for yourself and whatever. He didn't come in and bash, Hebrews. He didn't come in and bash this and this and that. He just, it was just right on his YouTube channel under one of his videos. And he just like, yeah, I don't do that anymore. And that was it. There was no bashing. So for me, I was like, okay, so whatever his issue is, it was his.
Yeah.
He didn't try to make it a nation issue. It was just like, nah, this is where I'm at. And this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I think he utilized what's going on with I'm not gonna put the name out there.
Right.
The kind of, because you made a excellent point. I didn't even know his whole platform was built off of doing that type of presentations or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So I just deduce or take from it that he's speaking from a standpoint of like, well, I didn't do it like them. I'm not out there talking about women and blah, 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 whatever he was saying. I'm not doing that. So that's what I'm picking from it. Let's keep going. We at the 17-minute mark. We will be done in 3 minutes. Hopefully I won't keep stopping, but if he keeps saying some stuff, I may. Here we go.
Some of you might say, saying you're no longer a Hebrew Israelite is like saying you're no longer a black man. See, this is the problem. You're not paying attention. My connection.
You want to say something, Chief Prince?
No. Let him keep cooking. Let him cook.
Cool.
Connection to the Most High will always be there because I serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I just don't identify as an Israelite no more. I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want to be associated with people that are racist. I don't want to be associated with people that hate their own people.
All right, I got to stop there. This 3 minutes is going to be the longest 3 minutes, I'm telling you. This is why what you said was on point. That is, and I never said this before, so I'm going to take it from you, and I'm going to let people know I got it from you.
Oh.
The groups that he's talking about is a small percentage. The very congregation I came from, IOG, from my understanding, one of the biggest groups of Israelites. They got a lot of branches that comes from them, but it's got a freaking mega church out here. I'm in Chicago. I'm in Illinois right now. They, and they have people that's not so called black in their congregation. It's a lot of congregations that's like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for you to say that Israelites are racist, that's the part that, and I'm only talking about this subject right here.
Yeah.
For his stuff to be valid, that means you should not see no white person in any other congregations. And that means that he's wrong.
Right. I mean, and again, let's keep it real. You look at some of the biggest Hebrew groups that's out there right now. Like I said, the Alphabet Crew. And I use that term, in a somewhat of a loving way. It's not disrespectful, but because there's just a lot of letters being used. IOG, IUIC, and GOCs, it's a lot. But if you look at all of those groups, there's only one group that's actually, quote unquote, teaching racism, if you want to even say it that way, and it's really just ISUBK.
Mm-hmm.
House of David doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They're more like, hey, listen, Esau is who Esau is, whatever. We're all about Israel. We're about uplifting our people. We don't really focus so much on them anymore. GOCC doesn't focus on that anymore. And in fact,
They got white people there.
yeah, or we'll just say light-skinned Hebrews. Well, white people are Edomites and Edomites. Anyway,
yeah.
Hebrew Edomites. Hebrew Edomites. So I mean, they don't have an issue with that. Same thing with IOG. Same thing with the and I can't remember the name of the group, but they operate out of Toronto, Canada. Israelite Worldwide Ministries? I can't remember. They have a massive following, and they don't have no quote unquote issues with race or whatever like that. Very few, if any, Tanakh based camps and organizations, congregations don't have that quote unquote racial overtone. We know who they are. We don't, you know what I'm saying? We recognize who and what they are historically, but we're not fixated on them. We're fixated on our people and what we can do to uplift us. So when you're talking about quote unquote hating people based on race, you're really only talking about one group. And even that group is starting to change a little bit of their narrative. If you just pay attention to Catherine Tazariak, you can see that there is a change. People are kind of getting a little bit more clearer in their thinking. So his statement about that statement is it's almost a moot point, because people are changing, people are modifying, people are growing. Just like you can grow, others can grow too. But you're only talking about one group.
Yeah. He's doing the very thing, Chief Prince, which is crazy. You know how when they say a group of black people are doing something, they'll call them thugs, but then they'll call white people doing the same thing. They won't call them thugs. They'll say something about he's doing that and don't even know he's doing that. He's literally doing that and don't know that he's doing that. And if you're watching, you are. I'm not, man. Look, if you watch from the beginning, you know we prayed. I pray for my people, man. We try to be balanced, but we try to be balanced on both sides. We got to show you the other side because it's apparent that you are not seeing that other side. So
yeah, it's and to be honest with you, if you close your eyes and listen to what he's saying, and you just remove the whole thing about him being an Israelite and just listen to the narrative itself, he sounds like Vocab Malone. He sounds like those kind of apologists who are trying to create narratives to defame Hebrew Israelites as a whole. Nothing that he's saying is specific to his experiences. He's not bringing up specific instances that he's experienced and say, yeah, listen, I recall blah, 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 blah. And I remember when I was over here at Passover with GOCC and I saw them blah, blah, blah. There's no actual events that he's pulling up at this point. And maybe he does it in the other parts of the video. I don't know. I didn't see the entire video. Maybe you know, but he's not bringing up specific events. He's bringing up these cookie cutter examples that could fit any particular religious denomination. And he's just scratching out one name and then writing Hebrew Israelite over it.
And you see, hold on, those that's listening, if you watch back or if you're listening now, you see what Chief Prince Zabulon just did. He said he's doing this. Now, I don't know if he said in the later part of the video. That's the type, like when we speaking on certain things and we're trying to present something and we're trying to share something to enlighten somebody, we need to be as balanced as possible. He didn't just say, man, he doing this and he said, no, look, it's a chance that he could have. I didn't watch the whole video. Maybe you know. That's how we supposed to be speaking as teachers, man. Like speaking authoritatively, especially, that's like when people who be speaking on Hebrew, they can't even speak Hebrew, but they speak a straight authoritatively, you know, and they, you know, I know that's another subject, but the concept is the same. The concept I'm saying is if you don't know, speak on what you know. Only don't speak on other stuff. And if you do speak on other stuff, say, look, this is my
Right.
opinion. I'm not saying this is a fact. This is just from my point of view, from what I'm seeing. But guess what? My point of view don't even hit all the areas. I'm
Right.
not viewing from this area to see what's happening over this boulder right here. I'm only speaking from what I know at this point. And that way, when you're speaking, you're allowing people to say, okay, you know what? He's only talking about that. It's not factual 100%. And now you won't cause a lot of people to start continuing the narrative
Mm-hmm.
and starting to spew other doctrine more out there, putting it out there for more people to continue the same cycle.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing this today.
Yeah, but let's finish with the brother. I was gonna say let's finish with the brothers bringing out.
Okay.
I've heard some of the most diabolical, evil things I've ever heard in my life from Israelites, and I am totally disgusted by it. Totally disgusted by it, and it put me in a position now where I don't want to have anything to do with it. And some of you may feel some type of way, but I don't really understand why would you feel some type of way. My decisions have nothing to do with you.
But you're making your decisions out to the public when you have a following of 200,000 people that look up to your stuff that you're putting out. This is irresponsible as a leader or irresponsible as a content creator that makes himself to be wise before the people. It's irresponsible. So I don't care about your decision. I do. I want you to make the right decision, but whatever decision you make is fine. Our purpose is to bring out what's inconsistent. Chief Prince.
Here's the problem that I have with that statement, with his statement of a concern of that. How many times have we've seen, like, in on social media, celebrities, whether we're watching TMZ or whatever platforms, whatever, and we hear these celebrities, they're going, let's say a celebrity, a married couple, they're going through a divorce or something like that, and they'll get on these platforms and they'll say, yes, me and so we're splitting up, and it's amicable or it's not amicable, and we're going through A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, so on and so forth, but please, respect our privacy during this time. What? As he would say in his old videos, what? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense. So you get on social media, you spill all of your, you empty out all of your skeletons out of the closet, and then you tell people, hey, but don't judge me though.
Right.
Don't speak on, don't have an opinion on what I'm saying. No, if this was all about you, then you could have just stopped putting content out. Take down your YouTube channel, put up a new channel that, and put out information and stuff that resonates with you where you're at the moment. You, like he said, you don't owe anybody an explanation in that way. You can simply walk away how you ever want to walk away. But to say that, okay, I'm not associating with you people any longer, but then you're going to come back in and still monetize your interactions with the very people that you don't want anything to do with anymore, because he's not going to take this channel down and his videos stop being monetized. You're going to keep monetizing the videos. So it's like it's sort of like Candace Owens, like somebody like her, who she goes and, I don't want to sound racist here, but she goes and marries a white man, right? Makes her decision. It's what she does. Cool. She does what she does. But then all of her narrative, she has everything to say about Black love and what Black people are doing in marriage. It's like, no, you departed from that.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you have any, there should be no further conversation about what's going on among Black people, because you made a decision not to indulge that. So go over there and talk about what you need to talk about over there. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing here. If your issue is, if you don't want anything to do with this particular movement, okay, fine. It's just like a job. If you don't like the job and you quit the job and you get another job, You don't stay up all night on social media saying, I hate that job, I'm never going to go back there. It's fine. You don't have to go back there. Go to your new job. But this is the thing that I think sometimes people do, because they end up getting their butt hurt for something. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just saying that there's this energy that people get there. They might have been hurt by a very specific situation, a very specific camp, a very specific leader or whatever, and they go on a tirade, sort of like what Paul did. Paul, what I'm saying, was felt disrespected by the chief high priest and his daughter. The daughter didn't want him because he wasn't circumcised. The next thing you know, instead of saying, hey, that chick was out of her damn mind because she came at me, blah, 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 and her father was blah, 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 he says, circumcision is nothing. Right? So that just all of us now, the whole circumcision, the whole Israelite people, we're all evil because we're focusing. That's what people do when their butt hurt, when they don't want to address the individuals who hurt them. They go and do the exact thing that they're saying that they don't want to do. They go and try to hurt the community.
Yeah, I remember it was a guy. You may have came in contact with this guy before. He went to IOG.
Mm-hmm.
He was headstrong. This was my first few years, and he changed his name to the Israelite Killer. You recall somebody with that name on social media, the Israelite? Anyway,
I don't know. No, I'm not sure.
Let's keep going though. Let's keep going.
Israelite
Killer. It's Israelite Killer. I forgot his name. It just popped in my head, and I forgot his name. Here we go. Yeah. All right. Almost done, y'all. I know y'all tuned out. Y'all gonna come back. Here we go. 2 more minutes. So actually, a minute and like 12 seconds.
If I choose to not identify as a Hebrew Israelite, that's my decision. All right. That doesn't mean I'm not following the Most High no more. That doesn't mean I don't believe in the Bible anymore. It means that I am not a part of that group. It means that I'm not a part.
All right, I'm gonna say something real bold. I'm gonna say something really bold and authoritative. I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna say it's authoritative. If you are not doing the things that we find in our literature that was commanded, or some may say inspired, but I'm gonna say commanded by the Most High to do, and you don't do it, you're not following the Most High. Let me give you an example. The Most High gave us Shabbat, as I said earlier. Most High gave us the Moedim, the appointed times, and some may say the feast days. And he said, I don't want to deal with y'all. Y'all keep y'all y'all Sabbaths. Y'all do y'all feast days. Wait a minute. This was never the Israelites' feast days. This was what the Most High appointed. So why am I using that example? You're telling me, and you're telling everyone else here, that I'm not going to be a part of this, but I'm going to follow the Most High, but yet you're removing yourself from the very community that he wants to stay together. He wants this community to stay together. He wants this community to have children with their children. He wants this community to build houses. I just talked about this on a teaching.
Bingo.
Right? And in order to build houses, it ain't talking about build unless you're rich. It ain't talking about you build 3-4 houses. In order to build houses, plural, you need to have network with other people that are supposed to be like you. So when you're not doing what is told to you, then you're not following the Most High. What you're following is you.
Right.
You're following what you have made yourself to think or believe the Most High is telling you to do. That's what you're doing. So I'm speaking on that right now to say, no, if you are not putting the effort in to stay amongst your people, according to our literature and our belief within the literature, this is not me just putting Nasi Harashio, Chief Prince, or Shema's take on it. I can literally not line upon line, here a little, there a little. I don't knock that. I understand the concept. It's a great concept if it is contextually correct.
Right.
But we can see culturally and contextually that the Most High has been trying to keep us together through all of every commandment that the Most High has given us.
Mhm.
especially dealing with us as a people. So for you to say you are removing yourself from your people, I think in the New Testament say something like, how can you hate your brother but say you love me? Now people say, well, I don't hate my brother. Well, if you don't want to be around your brother, if you don't want to be around your brothers and or sisters, I don't want to
Right.
deal with y'all anymore, then how can you know the Most High, who is the power, or the people say God of the people? It's impossible.
Right.
So with that, I just wanted to say that, man. I'm gonna bring it back up. I don't know if you have anything, Chief Prince. I'm gonna bring it back up and let him finish. But we are following ourselves, man.
Hmm.
You know, and this goes back to what I said in the beginning. We are so lucky that it's 2025. We can literally do whatever we want. We could say we follow the Bible.
Right.
We have no account. We don't want to listen to elders. We don't believe there's no righteous men and women of the Most High. Literally.
Well, there is no righteous, no, not one.
Right. Don't give me started. You know how we look.
I know. I'm trying to trigger you.
I know you triggered me. Hey, look, for those that's watching, if you heard Chief Prince say this, I know that stems from Romans chapter 3. But if you read Romans chapter 3, keep reading down, and the context is going to explain who he's talking to. And then he goes and he brings it off of Psalms 14, I think it is. And Psalms 14 is where he gets that from when he says that the fool says in his heart that there's no Elohim. I'm going to paraphrase now because I'm mess it up. And he said he looked and he searched and he didn't find not one righteous. Now the context is the fool, and he was searching
Right.
amongst those people, though, and he searched, and none of those fools was righteous. And how could I
Right.
prove that? You keep going down 3, 4, 5 verses down. He says, and they, who are the they? The fool, the ones that he was searching that was not righteous. He said, and they came against my who? Righteous ones.
Mm-hmm. But there's
That's
no
how
right.
you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the context, man. That's and the crazy thing about it is when you go from Psalms chapter 1 all the way to chapter 14, it's talking about righteous all day. But yet we get to Psalms 14, and that was saying, look, because of what was said to be Paul in Romans chapter 3. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah.
I hope it's something learned in that we said, man. Because I'm pressing the wrong thing. Because that's an example. And that's what's happening with him. And the reason we're making this video, and I don't know if it's going to touch people, but don't say pause. I know you're going to say pause.
No.
The way that I really wanted to, because I want to not reach him necessarily. If it gets to him, cool. But to those that he's going to reach, man. And this is what I struggle with, Chief Prince. Let me pull this screen up so I can see you. I understand that, and I teach this too, but I still struggle with it. You know how you say you could pray for someone, and typically, excuse me, I pray for people's safety.
Right.
I can't really pray for them from the standpoint that I really want to, because at the end of the day, it's going to be two things that could change it: either the Most High or that person has to change it. That person has to change it in order for it to really go forward. Most High gave you the tools for it to be changed. So I lost my train of thought. So with him, let's keep going. If I figure out what I was about to say, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, lost my train of thought. All right, let's go ahead and press play. Let's press play. And if I remember, I got y'all. Here we go.
Part of that community in terms of promoting hate, evil. I'm not a part of that. I believe that all people can come to the Most High. I believe that whether you're black, white, Asian, if you choose to come to the Most High, you can come to the Most High. I'm not going to be a part of a group that want to segregate everybody, a group that hates their own brothers and sisters, a group that will ostracize and criticize a person falsely and tries their best to destroy a person.
I'm gonna stop there. We have literally 15 seconds left. I want to say this, y'all. even though Chief Prince Zebulun teach a certain way and I teach a certain way, I still understand the concept. How can I prove this? This is when I know when a person knows the Bible. In Jeremiah, do I know the chapter about heart right now? No, but I'll find it. Anybody need it? It talks about the Most High had to break down, cut up. I might be throwing that in there, and then build up. Right? So it's break down, something else, then build up. Right? Replant you to build up. And the concept of the way that I use that is this: sometimes you have to tear down the what's been custom, what's been going on in someone's lives for a long time. It's been embedded in them. So the Most High sent this prophet, sent this understanding for them to understand. You have to, like Josiah had to literally, he was prophesied about it, but he had to literally tear down everything that was being done before him to rebuild and reestablish. So going back to ISUPK, because he's talking about groups like that, right? He's only talking about the negative part. I don't agree with that stance on a lot of stuff. I don't, but I still know how to be balanced and understand that, hey, they are doing the very things that Chief Prince brought out. The prisons, taking people off drugs, all this other stuff. You're not mentioning those things. Why? Because you have a motive. Or you're hurt. And if you're hurt, if it's not a motive, I'm going to say that. If it's not a motive and you're hurt, all I can tell you is to really study the scripts. And once you realize that, and this doesn't make it right, but this is our people in general. That Torah law was written because of how we are. That's us in general. And that can be me saying that can be like depressing for some people watching. Like, you know, so what am I doing it for? You're doing it because your relationship with the Most High is important. I put a post up this a couple hours ago, and it's from Jeremiah. I'm gonna pass the mic to you, Chief Prince, after I say this. It's from Jeremiah, and it says, "Return to me, and I will return to you." This is literally Zechariah. Forgive me, Zechariah. Return to me, and I will return to you. But what I said in the post is, this has been the case with every person he has sent. Their message at the end of the day was return to me and I will return to you. So we have to, and I'm gonna close with this because we got 13 seconds left for the video because I'm not going, it's 48 minutes. You all watching on your own time. I really just want to close out with what he said at the end of I think we did 10 minutes of it, or 7 minutes of it. I want to encourage him if he's watching. We're not taking away from how you're feeling, but still be a representative of the Most High. You say you're a servant of the Most High. That means you have to still deal with your people. Removing yourself from your people is, you won't find nobody that you look up to in the Bible that did that. Maybe one. And I think he came back around, but he was running like crazy. Jonah. Yoda was running. But, you know, so anyway, Chief Prince, you got something? You're muted if you're speaking. Oh, you must be on the phone. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and press play.
No.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's just hear him out.
All right, cool. Well, shoot, it's a whole nother 20 minutes to hear him out. But
oh no, I mean the segment that you had. What you said, 13 seconds.
Yeah. Here we go.
Just because you don't agree, I don't want no parts of that. So just like I made a video that I'm no longer a Christian anymore, I'm no longer an Israelite anymore.
There we go. There we go.
And that should be a red flag.
No. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
we got to the root of the issue. He said it himself. The rest of that video is irrelevant because see, this is not an issue with the Israelites because he's already gone through it with the Christians.
Mm-hmm.
So we already know that this is more about where he stands in his personal walk. Anytime when you hear someone say that they don't like to, be defined by titles and names, whatever, that right there is red flag. That's letting you know that what's really about to happen is that they are about to go on a path of anarchy. And I don't mean anarchy where they just wilding out necessarily, whatever like that, although sometimes it is that, but in the sense of people don't like to be defined by something because when they go out into the public, when they go out into the outer world, when they go outside of the gates of Israel, metaphorically, when they go outside the gates and they're amongst the nations, they no longer have to be held to the standards of what a Hebrew is held to. So if you identify yourself as a Hebrew and people happen to know what Hebrews are, they're not, listen, most people are not like, oh, are you going to scream at me all day? No, they're going to be like, oh, okay, whatever like that. But now if you have your coworkers and y'all going out to eat and they might be serving something that would not be permissible in the Torah, if you identify as something, they'll be like, hey, wait a minute, you're not really supposed to eat that, right? Or you're not supposed to do that because you are a Hebrew, right? Yep. Right? So they have a tendency to take on that approach that and not to get into the whole New Testament thing or whatever like that, back and forth, whatever. But you consider that the platform that Paul took, that he said that when you find yourself in the meat market, in the shambles that they call it in the KJV, but in the meat market, and you see, and you see all manner of meat, and you don't know what it is. It says to basically, in a nutshell, to receive it, asking no questions for conscience sake.
Right.
Or if someone puts food before you that might have been sacrificed to devils, right? Says ask no questions for conscience sake, because then if you ask the questions, then you're going to be held to that standard.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm starting to see amongst Hebrews, not generally, obviously, but Hebrews who were once professing that they were Hebrews, and then when they say that they don't, that's why I say look at the aftermath of their decision. Look at how they're moving. Look at the things that they're doing. And you're like, oh, so that's what it is. So now it's basically like what many Israelites used to do in the early 90s when you wanted to go out and do all types of all manner of wickedness and nonsense, and you didn't want to get kind of caught up in or being a Hebrew, you tuck your fringes away. Right. Exactly. You tuck the bad boys off. Or if you had them on safety pins, you unpinned them, put them in your pocket, and you went and did your nonsense. And then after you finish doing your nonsense, then you come back and put them back on, and and then say, Toda Yah for the Shabbat day. So, but this is what many of them are doing. They don't want to be identified by these terms, because when you're identified by those terms, you're now going to be held to that standard. And some of our people, they're tired of being held to that certain standard. They want to be held to a standard that allows them to do whatever level of righteousness that they feel is good for them.
Right.
And that's why I say it's kind of like an anarchy situation, that there's no order. They're just like, listen, I don't need all of that extra order. But they use the whole racist thing and, oh, they're hating each other. What are you talking about? Christians do that all the time. I mean, hate. No one's blasting Christians for it. No. So I'm just saying, it's a people issue. It's not a denomination issue. It's not a nation like Hebrew Israelite. It's an issue. It's like back in the days when people said, "Oh, rap music promotes violence." Okay, but rap music didn't exist prior to 1974 generally.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of violence in this damn country. So
Yeah.
you can't blame it on rap music. Well, let's blame it on rock music. Let's blame it on, we could blame it on a whole bunch of things. But we realize the further you go back, you realize that it's not a music thing. It's not a religion. It's a people thing. People do what people do.
Yeah.
There's some wicked Christians out there, and then there's some really good Christians where people that's like, yo, I will definitely break bread with these individuals because they're genuinely good people. Are there some Hebrews that I would not break bread with? Absolutely. Are there some that I would absolutely break? Absolutely. It's a people issue.
Yeah.
And so when we start trying to make it into, oh, I don't want this label or whatever like that. So it's really not the people, it's the label. Like the label is troubling you. And there's something we played the rest of those seconds of that video, right?
Yeah, that was it. We closed
Okay.
out when he said, just like I made a video not being a Christian. This is my
Right.
video not being Israelite. Yep.
Right. And then and so now he's moving on to another into another season, if you will. He's gonna go into another season, whatever that season is. Maybe it's agnosticism, maybe it's just general, just read the Bible for yourself, whatever like that, which is ironic because when you isolate yourself and then you read the Bible and be like, okay, I'm just going to read the Bible and do the Bible on my own, then you're basically doing the same thing that you're saying that they're doing. Oh, interpreting the Bible the way you want to. Well, you're going to be doing it.
Yep.
But to that overall point about wanting to walk away from the term Hebrew Israelite because certain Israelites have sullied and have dirtied the term, which we know that they have. That absolutely. I mean, we're not going to sit here and pretend like there's not brothers and sisters who've given Hebrew Israelites a very bad reputation. We know that it has happened. But here's the problem that I have with that, and how I tried to bring a solution to it. Back in, what was it, 2008, 2009? This was like before the mass migration of Israelites to Facebook. Facebook was still relatively new to Israel. Israel wasn't really heavy on Facebook in 2008 like that. So I don't know if you recall, but most Israelite camps and congregations, they were operating on Yahoo groups.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like and I used to be a part of a Yahoo group called the Law Keepers. And great group, and some of those original members, I still see them on Facebook now or whatever. But there was a controversy back then in 2008. I still got I printed out the copies of of that interaction where I was kind of going back and forth debating with the one of the leaders of the group, which was the sister named Afro Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And the point of the subject of debate was the Star of David and whether Israelites should utilize the Star of David.
Right.
So I, like we tend to do, try to bring a balance and say, well, okay, number one, it's not a star, so we don't have to, it's not one of the Kokavim, it's not, that's not what it is. It's not a star. It's definitely not the star of Molech.
Right.
It's not that, it's not the star of Kiyun and all of that stuff. No, it's not that. And so we go back and forth. She's like, so she was like, that symbol, has been used for evil, and the Khazars, they've used it, and blah blah blah. And as Israelites, we shouldn't use that because they've used it, and whatever the case may be, and we don't want to be associated with Jewish people. I said, okay, and I'm paraphrasing what I originally said. I said some other things that I probably wouldn't say nowadays, but I was like, well, if that's the case, if our position is going to be, we don't associate ourselves with the Star of David because the Jewish people associated with it, then why are we calling ourselves Yisrael? do not. They should say, well, no, we're Israel. They're Israelis. Israeli is Israeli. It's the same thing. And I said, now, if we're going to take that path, then why do we use the Tanakh?
Yep.
That's their book.
Blew out of the Bible.
Right. Like, why do we use these things? You know what I'm saying? Because is there, do we print our own Tanakhs? No, we do not. They print it. So why are we going to them to get a Tanakh? We should be like, no, well, because a Tanakh, that's an acronym that they came up with. We shouldn't even be using that. Okay, well then let's go, then stop complaining about the KJV then. So if we can't use the Tanakh, then let's get back to the KJV. But then we can't use the KJV because that's the white Christian man's Bible. Okay, then what do you propose that we do? And of course, there was no response to that. She didn't have a response to what we should do to solve the problem. And I said, now let's take the Star of David. Let's take the hexagram as an example. I said the hexagram found its origins. Its origins was not in Europe. Its origins was found in Ethiopia. It was the symbol of continuity, of eternal existence, like the number 8.
Mm-hmm.
This is the two earliest historical finds of that symbol was among the Ethiopians and also among the Akkadians, the Sumerians, should I say. The earliest Sumerian inscriptions and pictures, you see the hexagram, you know what I'm saying, on inscribed on the stones, and you see the Sumerian gods or the Sumerian people, whatever the case. So we see that the symbol goes back to the earliest of times. The earliest of times. Prior to Egypt, going into Sumeria, the first recognized civilization. I call it the Adamic races. So if these symbols, if we know that these symbols were not invented by the Khazars, but they were invented by the people of Sumeria, then that places that symbol in antiquity, to the very beginning of time. Then we can't use the argument that it's a Jewish star if it predates the Jewish people.
Right.
And there was never any agreement. It was like agree to disagree, whatever the case would be. And like I said, I said, listen, I don't have a personal issue with it. Do I wear it all the time? No. I said I don't have a particular problem with it because I look at it. I have a particular understanding of it. It being 2 daleds, whatever like that. Well, no, that's another story. But I use that example just to show that you can have an issue with something and not want to identify with it because of some things that other people are using it for and doing with it, whatever like that. But that has nothing to do with you. Are you going to give up the scriptures? Because listen, people use the scriptures, use the Bible for all manner of evil things. Are you going to stop associating with the Bible, or are you going to go into the Bible and show people this is how the believers in God is supposed to move?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what you're trying to do, then you could do the same thing in the Hebrew Israelite community. You could say, you know what? Listen, I'm always going to be Hebrew Israelite. I might not associate with that particular camp or that particular camp, but if I see that something needs to be fixed, then I'm going to go fix it. Either I fix it or I move out the way.
That's right. That's right. Those y'all tuning in, we appreciate y'all tuning in, man. We're going to come up with a title for this segment. I think Sage Talk. I ain't no sage, but I'm just saying, because we need the gatekeepers. We need the sages. We need the gatekeepers and stuff to keep it going for these purposes right here, because these situations, these scenarios, it's important to have those that's going to stand that ground on what we're supposed to do contextually, historically, all these things. We need it, and we can't just allow people to come in and keep spewing things that may not be balanced, may not be contextual. It's important for us to do that, and we could do it in a way to where we're not attacking. Because I'm not attacking the man. But I wish that, or I hope that he can really go back and look at his video, because he made 3 more videos after that, by the way. He made 3 more videos. I haven't watched it, and I'm not going to watch it. But he made 3 more videos in regards to this. So for those of you that are trying to understand this path, get under or find people that can teach you the core of it. In Deuteronomy, Devarim, I think, chapter 10, verse 16, 10 to 16, maybe, when it says, circumcise your mind, your heart. Why the heck is the Most High telling them to stiff neck, circumcise it? Why? We already know the law, the commandments that was given to us, right? My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. They weren't destroyed because they didn't know. They were destroyed because they weren't acting it out. They weren't doing the understanding of what the knowledge is teaching us to do as a people and to serve the Most High. So get under people that's sincere, if you're not that person, to be the one teacher, and create more people, teach more people that understand the Most High properly. You know, I always go to the book of Eli and Shemuel, because that's like the best example to me that we can use for Christians, for people that are our community, whoever that looks at the Bible or the Tanakh or the scriptures, whatever. And it said that he didn't even know the Most High. Now we understand he wasn't spoken to, but he was under his tutelage all them years. He was hearing about the Most High. He knew, but it was that can show us where we're really at. You know, we are people here in the United States, 2025. Most of us are first generation in understanding of the script in the right way. He said that he left Christianity because their understanding was off. So that makes him a first generation, which means sometimes as a first generation, you have to sit under people that know more than you and put that right time in before you just start teaching, because you're going to continue to make other people fall, and they're going to continue to teach what you have taught them. So with that, I yield you all. To be or not to be a Hebrew Israelite, that is the question. And that is the question, because everyone is not sincerely wanting to be it, not doing the things required to be it. Everyone is not the remnant within that remnant. Israel is supposed to be a light to the nation. That's what we're supposed to be. And then the problem is it was only a remnant within that remnant. Are you going to be that remnant within that remnant? That's the question you should ask yourself. So it ain't really to be to be or not to be a Hebrew Israelite. The question is, do you want to be who the Most High is calling you to truly be? And with that, I yield. We appreciate you all tuning in. If you haven't yet, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you again soon. You got any closing words, Chief Prince?
Rofenu Naya.
All praises. And with
Heal
that,
us, please, Yah. Please.
Heal us. With that, we're going to close out with My People Rising, because at the end of the day, we want our people to rise. And this is me and my Ishai off our new album, House of Balance. We hope that you enjoy it. Shalom.
That dream is green, and I don't mean material things. Freedom to the land, to woman and man, as we take up for what we stand. Better days and better nights, as we stand and unite. We're one and the same. Why is it so hard not to point and to blame? Better get our houses in order, and we'll see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we want to see.
I see my people rising, no more stopping. across America.